Good morning, YouTube. Good morning, all my friends. How you guys doing? Oh my gosh, there's so much going on in our world right now. I mean, the freaking president is considering banning TikTok. Like, what? We just got done with the riots. We are still dealing with COVID. We need to just kick that aside. And today we're going to talk about the most important accessories to have for a German Shepherd, or any dog at that matter, but most specifically a German Shepherd. Before we jump into today's video, make sure that you turn on notifications, subscribe, and follow us on our other social media platforms like Instagram and TikTok. But without further ado, let's jump into the video. All right, so accessories. Accessories play such a huge pivotal point for your dog, whether that's home health, whether that's outside and the proper equipment. So let's jump into the most important accessories we use. All right, so the first piece of accessories we use for Apollo would be our harness. Now, I've went through a lot of harnesses before. There's a lot of decent harnesses on the market, whether that's Amazon, shoot, even Walmart. A simple Google search, you'll be able to find the right one for your pet. Our harness was specifically made from Canine Tactical Gear. Now, this specific harness is probably best fit for a working type dog or a sport dog. So that's your hunting dog, your police or military working dog, your protection type dog. But Canine Tactical Gear offers some high quality harnesses that they're definitely not cheap, but you know that they're gonna last you forever. Our harness had specific custom modifications to it, like the stitching in it. Canine Tactical Gear, all the best harnesses come with the stitching in the front. But ours, we had the custom orange striping stitching going all the way around on the harness. The harness is really good for venting and airflow, which makes it easier for the dog. It doesn't get super hot. The buckles are very sturdy, very, very high quality. The bottom is a Velcro type moving strap that actually helps you so you're able to adjust it to best fit your dog's need. And it's really simple to put on. You just put it over the head and slip the leg in on the other side and just clip it. All these other ID panels and stuff, also you can have custom ordered online or get straight from Canine Tactical Gear as well. Tactical Gear is not available on Amazon. You can check them out on Instagram or their website at caninetacticalgear.com, or on instagram.com/caninetacticalgear. But I highly recommend them for a very sturdy and high quality harness. Again, it's not cheap. Their average is anywhere from like 100 to, I would say, like 275, maybe a little bit more, depending on all the custom and modifications that you have. And if you end up getting like anything else put onto it, ID panels, or you order another collar or something like that. Next on the list for us is a good lead. Now, I've had all kinds of leads, whether they're nylon, whether they're leather, whether they're 6 foot, 8 foot, 10, 30. It depends on what exactly I'm doing that particular day, or if I'm training, if I'm doing some tracking, if I'm doing some bite work. But since Apollo's retired out now, I really don't have to worry about all that. So to be honest with you, all those other leads and extra stuff, they're just stored in a box and they actually just sit there. The one that works best for us right now is this one I found online. Great little buckle, but it's a bungee, and it actually has the top part where I hold the most, where I'm helping Apollo, whether that's lifting him in certain spots, because again, Apollo had that orthopedic surgery. So this little strap just helps me give him that extra little boost, or if I see him struggling, I can just like kind of pick it up and help him. So that makes it easier as well. But not to mention that it is bungee, and so it's not working against him versus like a nylon pull. A nylon, the dog just pulls itself, but this one kind of just acts as like a shock absorber, and when the dog's pulling against you, it doesn't bring any more more extra pressure to them. This one's only a 6-foot lead, but I highly recommend something like that. Most of the time, you know, if you're keeping your dog like really close to you, 6 foot is really good. Now you can get a leather or anything like that, but I highly recommend something like this. Definitely cannot forget going outside in our conditions. Apollo has eye problems. Our Rec Specs dog goggles, forgive me with the ring light in the background, but I'm working in my YouTube studio, so it's easy to see. These Rec Spec dog goggles are great for the average sport dog, great for a dog that's had eye problems. If you live in harsh climates, if you're around really strong sun rays, if you're around glare from living around the snow and it's going into your dog's eyes, this helps so much. With us, we live in Arizona, so we get all the dust storms, we get all the wind. So there's just so many different variables that these dog goggles help us out a lot. And the great thing about them is at the top, they have the little breathing thing, so they never fog up in your dog's eyes. You'll see a lot of these dogs on Instagram, TikTok, anything like that. You see the dogs going in water with them. So this is a great product. Again, they're not cheap, but it's an accessory that we would not live without. If we were doing a tracking or something like that and they needed to take Apollo in the brush, I didn't have to worry about his eyes getting hit by branches or anything like that. He just walks through them and the freaking branches just hit on that. But it is a great product. So check them out, recspecs.com. I will leave the link. They actually are available here on Amazon, and that link will be in the description below. One of the most, if not critical parts to your dog accessory kit, a non-pull hair type collar. Ours is a Herm Springer. I think that's how you say it, Springer. I can't really say it. You'll get the point if you Google it. Don't laugh at me, but I can't think of the name right now. Also, have your dogs vaccinated. Have them licensed through whatever city you live in. Make sure you follow all your rules and regulations. But this is a great collar for Apollo. It never pulls on his hair. I highly recommend them for any long hair type German Shepherd or just German Shepherd in general. There's no way that the hair is going to pull in these, and these are super cheap. It's only like $9 on Amazon, so definitely look into that. Apollo's girth is like 26, so I believe this one is like a 27 or a 28, so this one works perfectly for us. Another key element for us, now this is going specifically for people that live in harsh weather conditions. Again, this is Arizona. We get temperatures anywhere from 120 to could be 128 in the summertime. So therefore the concrete, the asphalt, all that's going to be super hot. I usually take a temperature gauge, and it's not uncommon that I've seen the temperature gauge hit 179, if not higher, on the ground. So I recommend some product like Ruff Wear. These are the Ruff Wear boots. Now Apollo hasn't worn these a lot. In fact, he's only worn them like once or twice, but the reason is, again, it's because he had that orthopedic surgery. So there's really not a need for that. And where he goes potty outside of my house is literally just right out front of the door. So he just easily goes in and out. But I highly recommend something like this if you're going to be taking your dog out at all during like harsh weather conditions. Again, it's good for like hiking and stuff like that for any type of dogs that are really active, a sport dog, a hunting dog, anything like that. Definitely give Ruff Wear a check out. They are definitely worth it, and they make them in all different kinds of sizes. But if you're gonna buy the boots, make sure that you buy the socks, because a lot of times what happens is the boot falls off and slips off. But if you have the socks, it actually just adds an extra layer and between your dog's foot and the boot, so it makes it harder to slip off. Never under any circumstances put your dog in a bad position and not have a first aid pet kit on hand. Now this could be just a simple hiking excursion. This could be a working dog. This could be a military dog. This could be just your average dog that you're just taking out. Always make sure that you have safety, just like you would with your kids, as the number one concern for you and your pet. Because again, they could easily, like here in Arizona, we have rattlesnakes, we have scorpions, we have sharp rocks when you're going out and hiking. So a lot of the same dangers that present to a human are the same way for a pet. But I highly recommend something like this. This one's not really expensive, not like a Med-Eye trauma kit or anything like that. And it just has the basic fundamentals for a dog and for just an immediate treatment to help your dog out before you can get to the vet. I highly recommend something like this. This is really important to have for anybody that is an outdoor person. Make sure that you get a cheap and effective first aid pet kit. I'm not sure how your dog is. My dog can't stand going to the vet or the groomer and having his nail trimmed. So he actually does it a lot better when I do it, although he will nip me at times because he just hates it in general, so I use cookies. But this was given in to us by a follower, and this is amazing. And actually, while I'm thinking about it, so is that first aid pet kit, so shout out to you, thank you for that. But this specific nail grinder does us wonders. It has 2 speeds on it. It's only like $43 on Amazon. I'll leave this link in the description below as well. Now, here's one thing to understand about nail trimming in general. Watch YouTube, ask your registered vet tech or your vet. If you don't feel comfortable about doing it, take your dog to a groomer, take your dog to a vet, something like that, and have somebody else do it. That way you don't really have to worry about it. I actually have the Cystic powder just in case I do go too deep on Apollo, and it's easy for me to just dip his toe into it, and it blocks the bleeding in general. But this is a great tool to have. Again, it has 2 speeds, and you just simply put the dog's nail right there, and this is a protector barrier so that you don't go deeper than you need to. So it has 2 speeds. That's the first speed, and then the higher speed. This thing comes off for a dog that has a long nail, and you just work around it. Great tool to have, great accessory to have with any type of dog. One of the most important accessories to any dog owner, but more specifically, is a German Shepherd. Long-haired or German Shepherd, or just a long-haired dog in general. Even like Labs, because they also have their dual coats. I would recommend this type of brush. This brush was available on Amazon, and I went with this brush simply because the Furminator I actually used to use, but the problem is that the pins are so close together, it only has one straight edge. When you go down, there's a lot of times that when you're pulling, it ends up nicking Apollo or harming him. And I had too many problems with it, and I wanted nothing to do with a Furminator again. So I got rid of it. I tossed it in the garbage, and I don't even use Furminator anymore. I highly recommend this one. This one's really great. As you can see how the edges are, they're curved so that when you're going through the dog's hair, it's easily adaptable and it does not get stuck in them. What I also do, and I recommend, is maybe getting like a conditioner or something like that sprayed on the dog so that when you're going through the hair, it just makes it a little bit easier, loosened up from all the dirts and such that gets in your dog's coat. But I highly recommend something like this. Really cheap, but very effective. Now, a very important thing for anybody that has tile, anybody that has concrete, anybody that has hardwood flooring or laminate, chances are your dog lays on that at all times throughout the year. Now, there's a couple things I'm going to talk about. One of the biggest things, though, is that dogs get the calluses on their elbows. Now, you don't have to get this product or something similar. You can easily use petroleum jelly, and it does the same exact thing, but I use the Blissful Dog Elbow Butter. Now, it's very easy to use. Smells good. What you do with this product is and just like petroleum jelly, let's say your dog's elbow is exposed and this is the exposed area, you make sure that you get it in all those nooks and crannies, and then you cover the entire thing. And I usually do that 1 time a day. I don't do it multiple times a day. Chances are your dog is going to lay on that specific thing. So maybe look into getting a cooling mat. That is also something that I have. But when you have something like this helps reabsorb and soften those calluses. Those calluses over time end up hurting your dog in the long run. And this is just a great product that's fairly cheap and inexpensive. Meanwhile, just like the petroleum jelly, something that just helps your dog out. So if you are struggling with any of those problems, look into these products or use the petroleum jelly. Now, like I just talked about, I specifically just talked about a cooling mat. That was another gift. Thank God for all of our followers from TikTok. They have hooked Apollo up with so many different things. One of the products also that we got was a cooling mat. That helps us out on the tile. We have tile in the home. So with Apollo, he likes to lay on it all the time. So he will get those elbow calluses. So having the cooling mat just enables him to lay on something that is cool, but he does some of the times get off of that and still go back to laying on the tile. But I highly recommend something like that that's soft, that when a dog does lay on, the whole purpose of it is for it to stay kind of cool and prevent your dog from laying on something like that. So definitely check out the cooling mats and pads available also on Amazon. Another key component and accessory to any person that has a dog that you transport all the time. I'm gonna show you guys some pictures in a second, and this is really gonna blow your mind, but it's gonna show you how important this is. Now, my friends over there at TaylorMade Working Dogs in San Diego County, California, were in actually a very serious car accident. They had their dog in a crate inside the cab of their truck, and that actually probably saved the dog because their vehicle was so mangled up from being in that accident. Had they have not have had that dog in a crate, the dog would have been exposed, could have been ejected, and possibly killed just from not being strapped in and having that extra protection. So just because you think that you have your dog put in a seatbelt, for instance, your dog is still very much exposed, just like you, to the elements, if not more, because their chances of being impacted by it are very great. So I highly recommend, we, again, were blessed to have one of our followers from Canada, Lori, bless us with the gift of a brand new crate that I use for transport, specifically for Apollo, and that's those reasons. Is that when I am transporting of any kind, and I do get in an accident, the brunt of the majority of the collision is going to be impacted on the crate. Therefore, the crate is probably going to be damaged, but allowing Apollo to have a chance of surviving that impact simply because he's not exposed to the elements within the vehicle. So I highly recommend any type of crate or kennel when you are transporting. I don't recommend any of the metal ones. I specifically recommend the plastic ones. Now, in talking about crates and kennels more specifically, it's really important also to have one. You could even use the same one that you use to transport your dog, use the same one for your indoor. It's really important. A lot of people like bash on the whole idea of having a crate or kennel, and really just to me, I mean, I've been around dogs a long time. I've been involved in the canine handling portion. I've been a trainer. For me, I just look at those people and I think you're just a bunch of morons and idiots. Because what that does for a dog is actually just give them a very safe and chill environment to mellow out in, away from everybody. And it's a good way for liability purposes if your dog is a bite dog or has bitten people and you want people to come over and you don't want to necessarily leave the dog out in the elements and exposed. It's a good way to just keep your dog safe and everybody around it by having it in a kennel. So I highly recommend looking into something like that. Dogs are very adaptable, and you should never make your dog feel fearful of a crate or a kennel because they serve a better purpose than you could probably think they do by just leaving them in a backyard. So definitely do your work on that, but more specifically for any type of German Shepherd or something like that, definitely look into getting a crate or a kennel. One of Apollo's favorite things in the entire world. I can't leave home without either lamb chop or this specific toy. This one, another gift from our followers, Canine Ops ball, dog ball with the rope attached to it. This is a lot of what a lot of German Shepherd working dogs use. This is a lot of what canine handlers use for detection dogs, etc., things like that. These are their dog's best friend. Most working dogs specifically have only one toy, and that is what their handler uses for them when they're doing their training. The dog's looking for the odor, the person, etc. This is one of the toys they use, but this is just Apollo's favorite thing in the world. So thank you again. This was donated by another follower, but if your dog is toy driven, get them something that's going to last, get them something that's not boring, that's going to entice them. And you're going to have some dogs that just get bored with toys in general. So just change it up. Apollo's favorite toy again in the entire world is a lamb chop. So it's a squeaky lamb chop. So just make sure that you also provide those kinds of things for your pet as well. Now you did hear me talk about the elbow butter and stuff like that. Next on the list for us is snout care. Now, any dog that lives in a dry area or that has allergy, snout care, nose care is really important. Apollo's had those upper allergy infections, so his nose dries out a lot. I see a lot of people in Arizona using this. I see a lot of people in California using this, or people that live in dry climates with tons of humidity, and that for us is a snout smoother. Great product. Has a good little smell to it. I'm trying to open it here so you're able to see it. There we go. Great product. All I do is just put my hand in it, wipe it in, simple like that. Put it on Apollo's nose like that, and that just helps keep his nose moisturized. Now again, you don't have to buy this specific product. You can easily use petroleum jelly. That's what I used before, and it does the same thing. But just don't put it on in gooks, just like this product. Just put it on. I use it like, for me, once a day. You could probably put it on like once in the morning, maybe once at night. But this is just something that's great to have for a dog that has allergies or that has a known dry nose problem. Now, I'm gonna be talking about some of the products that we use, more specifically, some of the joint type things that we use, and care products that we use. Now, you guys have heard me talk about our CBD products that we use. Apollo is sponsored by Honest Paws. Make sure in the link you check them out, honestpaws.com. Use our promo code K9Apollo, 20 off in capital letters. For us, we use CBD oils and CBD products. But these products help Apollo out tremendously. They help with his joint support. They help with his mobility, with keeping him calm and mellow. Being a former working dog, he has so much anxiety. He has a lot of stress just simply based upon because of his injury. So this is just a great product that we use daily that helps us continuously. So make sure, again, check them out, honestpaws.com. Next on the list is going to be joint supplements specifically. Now, we use Top Dog Health. Now, this is for joint supplements. They also have another one that is for maintenance, and they also have a fish oil. I forgot to bring that in the YouTube studio, but it acts as an anti-inflammatory. It has fish oil. But Top Dog Health, I highly recommend any type of joint supplement. Even a lot of people don't even use joint supplements, and I don't understand it with German Shepherds. They're known to have joint problems. They're known to have hip dysplasia. I highly recommend any type of active dog doing preventative maintenance. All you're doing is helping the dog, and especially with the bone density and things like that over time with the dog, all these things do is really just help those things and treat those things. So if you have a dog that has any type of problems like that, definitely check them out. Also, this will be available in the link below through Amazon, but check out Top Dog Health. Last and not least, wound management. Now, a lot of people, I don't have them here again, but I use a bunch of his followers sent us gauze, bandage stuff, because Apollo's specific injury where his bone fusion is at right here, right below his skin where the hardware is at, he has a lot of discomfort, and this always moves. Having a bone fusion does not allow any flexibility. It keeps his legs straight, so as he's walking, it just puts a lot of stress. Now, what that ends up doing over time is causes pressure sores. It reopens it, so I'm constantly having to use wound gels, wound treatment things, any type of powder to help stop the bleeding, gauze, nylon adhesive wraps. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars I have spent specifically on that care in general. One of the most effective things that I've used recently is Manuka honey, Dr. Nordyke's wound honey, Manuka honey. This stuff is amazing. It works super fast. It's kind of sticky and gooey, but it works tremendously and very effective. It has closed those specific areas that I just mentioned that Apollo has problems with the fastest than anything that I've used. I've used several different products, but I highly recommend this one more particular. Now, there's another similar product on the market called Medi Honey, which is the exact equivalent of this. This is just a cheaper brand, but I would recommend something like this. It helps heal not only dogs, but it also helps humans and the scarring and such like that. But because of Apollo's rough wear and tear on that leg, we use these kinds of things on the daily. In wrapping today's video up on accessories and must-haves for German Shepherds or dogs in general. Guys, the biggest thing that's really important is treating your pets, to me, like they're a part of your family. And if you can get them supplements, if you can find them gear or anything that makes their life easier, get it. You don't have to buy the most expensive gear there is to offer. Some of us are on budgets, and I completely get that, but there are options to help your pet and manage those specific things. So these are just things that I recommend from owning my German Shepherd. That includes the conditions that we live in, as far as weather and climate. That includes Apollo being a past working dog. And so that's a lot of the reason we have some of the gear that we have that may be different. But a lot of your needs for accessories are gonna be different than mine, but those are must-haves, like things like the brush, things like joint supplement, things like having a good lead, things like a harness. Those, no matter what, should be things that you have in your back pocket for your pet. And most importantly, that first aid kit. I've heard of more people having injuries with their dogs while they're out and about and then never think about it. And when it happens, you're like, gotta use like a shirt or something like that. So use those things and just be a responsible pet owner. So that's going to conclude it today. I hope you have a wonderful day. I know it's crappy environment out there in the world at times, but just be patient, be kind to each other. Make sure that you subscribe, like, follow on our other platforms, and we will see you in the next video.